Good morning, dear students. Today I will discuss about the lathe machine, parts and the operation. This is the part of unit 2. The semester is 1. Before going on the main slide, today I will discuss about the topics which will cover today: machine tools, lathe machine, basic elements of lathe machine, lathe operation, turning, facing, chamfering, grooving, parting, knurling, drilling, pouring, thread cutting. So these are the operation which are describing here: knurling, facing, chamfering, grooving. These are the lathe operation. So before going on the lathe operation, we will discuss about the main principle of operation and the parts of the lathe machine. So this is the machine tool, which is the power driven machine making the components of a desired shape and size. Also make a accuracy with the surface finishing by removing the material from the workpieces. The machine tool use the cutting tools from the for the removing the material. So after the machining, the material will becomes a good surface finish. Second thing is machining. What is the machining or the metal cutting process? This is the process of removing the material from the workpiece in the form of the chips by means of cutting tools, or so as to give the desired shape and the size of the component. That is the machining or the metal cutting process. Surface finishing process. This is the process of the imparting and the good surface finishing and the high dimensional accuracy. That is called the surface finishing process. This is the simple diagram of the lathe machine in which the chuck which are represented in the diagram, and the workpiece is held in the chuck spindle. That is the main principle of operation in which the tool is here describing where the feeding engage the workpiece for the machining operation. Here right hand side of the lathe machine, that is called the telestock, where the dead center and the where the long workpiece can be hold, and the depth of cut as per the requirement can be provided. So this is the machine which is the used for the removing the undesirable material in the form of the chips from the cylindrical surface. This is the main principle of the lathe machine, and also which is hold the workpiece accurately between of the two results and the strong support. That is called center. That is called the live center and the dead center. Live center, this is represented in the left hand side of the lathe machine. This is called the live center, and the dead center, this is represented in the right hand side. So this is the principle of machining of lathe machine. This is the structure or the diametrical figure of the lathe machine in which all the components are represented. Headstock where the number of the drives are represented. Tool post consisting of the number of the parts, and the tool post carrying of the tool, which is of the single point tool or the multi-point cutting tool. Hexagonal tool head, which are the additional devices. Saddle, which are using for the movement of the cross slide or the moving of the tool post from the one place to another place. Feed rod, which are using for the threading operation. Bed, this is holding of the all the main parts of the lathe machine. This is the leg, which are the structure or the foundation for the lathe machine. This is the basic elements which are the presented in the figure. This is the bed, which is the act as the base on which the different fixed and the operating parts are the lathe machine are mounted. Headstock, which is the also called is the live center, and the permanently fastened to the left hand side. The main function is the headstock to support the spindle and to house the main drive, and the spindle, which is the hollow rotating shaft used for the holding the workpiece. Right hand side, which are mounted, is the tailstock, which is located at the right hand side, and the guideways act as a guideways for the lathe bed and can be clamped in the any position of the lathe bed. Carriage, which is located between of the headstock and the tailstock of the lathe bed. It can be slide along the guideways on the lathe bed. ड्राइव, जो कि आप देख रहे हैं हेडस्टॉक की साइड पे लगी रहती है. द सेंट्रल लेथ हैज द प्राइमरी टू मोशन, द प्राइमरी कटिंग मोशन एंड द फीड मोशन. तो कटिंग मोशन के लिए ड्राइव प्रोवाइड करनी पड़ती है, तो सिंगल ड्राइव, डबल ड्राइव एंड द मल्टीपल ड्राइव. दीज आर द ड्राइव विच आर द प्रोवाइडेड बाय द कोन पुली, स्टेप कोन पुली मेथड और द गियरिंग मेथड. This is the drive, which are the mechanism for the transmitting power from the its source, the electric motor, which is called as external sources. Work holding device, that is also called where the work is mounted on this device. This is called a chuck, faceplate, mandrel, centers. These are the work holding device. This is the lathe operation. First operation turning, जहाँ की diameter को reduce किया था workpiece के, that is called a turning operation, where the workpiece is mounted between of the live center and the dead center. Workpiece is mounted between of the two center and the reducing of its diameter, that is called a turning operation. Turning operation, it is also called a straight turning or the plane turning, but turning operation can be classified on the three ways: eccentric turning, taper turning, and the as per the requirement. This is on the another type of the turning. This is the eccentric turning, in which the job is rotating on the beyond the axis or offside of the axis. This is called a eccentric turning, in which process removing the material from the cylindrical surface of the workpiece to reduce its diameter about an axis offset from the axis of the workpiece. When the turning is done by the offset from the axis, that is called a eccentric turning. So there is the presented in the diagram, where is the forge or chuck, and the job is mounted on this chuck. Cutting speed is provided, and the axis of job which are presented in this diagram, where the job is offset from the center of the chuck. This is called a eccentric turning. Taper turning, where the job is reducing in the taper form, and the turning operation, it is done by the single point cutting tool, and the job is reducing on the different diameter, that is called a taper turning. Facing, when the job machining operation which is performed on the front of the job or the front of the workpiece, that is called the facing operation, which are the removing the material from the end surface or the face of the workpiece. This is the operation, it is done at the front of the workpiece, that is called a facing operation. Chuck is holding of the workpiece, and the removing of the work piece as a chip form, that is done by the tool which is the fitting against the workpiece. चैम्फरिंग, जो कि आप यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं, एंगल फॉर्म में यदि जॉब को यदि हमें बनाना रहता है तो चैम्फरिंग ऑपरेशन करते हैं, which is the process beveling of the sharp edge of a workpiece, or the it is provided for avoiding the injuries to the person handling the finished product. The tool under used for the operation, that is called the chamfering tool. कहीं यदि इस तरह के हजार्ड्स हो रहे हैं, उनको रिमूव करने के लिए, उनको प्रिवेंट करने के लिए इस तरह के चैम्फरिंग ऑपरेशन जॉब में कई बार एज पर द रिक्वायरमेंट किए जाते हैं. ग्रुपिंग ऑपरेशन, जहाँ की ग्रुप्स प्रोवाइड करना पड़ता है एज पर द रिक्वायरमेंट. कई बार आप देखते हैं जो कीज वगैरह यूज की जाती हैं इंडस्ट्रियल एप्लीकेशंस या डोमेस्टिक एप्लीकेशंस पे, जहाँ पे कि पार्ट्स के मोशन को प्रिवेंट करना पड़ता है, या बोलना चाहिए उनके मोशन को अंडर गाइड मैनर में रखना पड़ता है. वहाँ पे ग्रूविंग टाइप के जो चीजें हैं वो प्रोवाइड करते हैं. तो यहाँ पे नैरो ग्रुप जो है सिलिंड्रिकल सरफेस में प्रोवाइड किया गया है, एंड द शेप ऑफ द टूल विच इज द रिप्रोड्यूस ऑन द वर्कपीस, दिस इज कॉल्ड द ग्रूविंग ऑपरेशन. तो ग्रूविंग टूल ये जो कि वर्कपीस में आप देख रहे हैं, वेयर द tool is fitting against the job, that is called a grooving operation. Parting, this is the process of cutting the workpiece into the two parts, that is the tool is called the parting tool. तो parting करने के लिए parting tool का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, जो आप यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं. This is the parting tool and the job is split in the two parts. So this is the large size and this is called a small size. नर्लिंग ऑपरेशन, जहां पे कि ग्रिपिंग प्रोवाइड करनी रहती है जॉब में, वहां पे नर्लिंग ऑपरेशन किया जाता है. कई बार जॉब में जब मशीनिंग ज्यादा कर देते हैं तो वहां पे वो जॉब स्लिप होना स्टार्ट हो जाता है, तो उसको जॉब में ग्रिप प्रोवाइड करने के लिए एज पर द रिक्वायरमेंट नर्लिंग ऑपरेशन करते हैं. और नर्लिंग ऑपरेशन करने के लिए नर्लिंग टूल की हेल्प ली जाती है, एंड इट प्रोवाइड्स ए नॉन स्लिप ग्रिप ऑन द सरफेस, गिव द डेकोरेटिव लुक. दैट इज द टेल स्टॉक एंड द this is the head stock where the workpiece is the mounted, and the knurling operation done by the knurling tool, which are the available in the market easily. Drilling operation, it is done by the drill bit. Cylindrical hole is provided in the workpiece by the drill bit, that is called a drilling operation. This is called a drilling bit, which are provided in the workpiece for avoiding of the any type of the machining operation, and providing the cylindrical hole in the workpiece by the drill bit, that is called a drilling operation. Boring, to enlarge the size of the drill, that is called a boring operation. जो ड्रिलिंग ऑपरेशन में आपने सिलिंड्रिकल होल प्रोवाइड किया था, उसी के साइज को बड़ा करने के लिए बोरिंग ऑपरेशन किया जाता है, और बोरिंग करने के लिए बोरिंग टूल का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, विच आर रिप्रेजेंटेड इन द डायग्राम. की बोरिंग टूल को यहाँ पे दिखाया गया है. वर्कपीस के अंदर जो साइज बड़ा हुआ था, उसी साइज को और बड़ा करने के लिए बोरिंग टूल प्रोवाइड किया गया है. दैट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ enlarging the already existing hole in the workpiece. Thread cutting, which is the process of producing of the helical groove. This is called the thread cutting operation, in the form of the V or the square shape on a cylindrical surface. The tool used for the threading operation, which is called the thread cutting tool, or alternative, when the feed rod is connected with the lead screw, then the threading operation can be performed. तो ये सारी चीजें दो तरीके से भी किया सकती हैं. थ्रेडिंग टूल मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, उसकी वजह से भी किया सकती है थ्रेडिंग जॉब में. या दूसरा जो ऑप्शन है वो है लीड स्क्रू को जब हम फीड रॉड से कनेक्ट करते हैं तो वहां पे भी थ्रेडिंग ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म किया सकता है. तो थैंक यू. दिस इज द टुडे लेक्चर. इफ यू हैव एनी डाउट प्लीज आस्क मी.